Good morning, students. Welcome to JV classes. Today we discuss about nutrition. So in this class, we are going to learn about different kind of nutrition and what is the importance of nutrition in our daily life. So that today we discuss about the topic nutrition. Okay, let's go now. So before discussing nutrition, food is necessary to our daily activities. So, what is the importance of food? Food is generally gives us energy. Food that gives us energy and food that helps in body growth, and food that helps in maintain our body health. So that we have to take several kind of food components for giving energy and body growth and maintain our body healthiness. So that today we discuss about nutrition and how nutrition is useful in our daily life to getting energy and body growth and maintains the health of our body. So then, what is the definition of nutrition? Nutrition is nothing but taking of the sufficient and necessary food items. So that is nothing but nutrition. That means in shortly we discuss taking the nutrient rich food for our growth and getting energy and maintain our body health. So that and in many ways food is utilized in our daily life. So all the living organisms need food. Not only animals but also plants also need food. So that today we discuss how do how do an animal get its food, or how do a plant that receives its food. So that first of all we have to discuss about different kind of food components in our food. Okay, so based upon the quantity we have to take the food is in two types. One is based upon the quantity. Food is necessary. One is micronutrients. And the second one are macronutrients. Okay. So let us discuss about micronutrients. So what are micronutrients? Micro means mini. That means what we intake the food material in small quantities. Those are nothing but micronutrients. And then what are the micronutrients? Mainly vitamins and minerals such as salts. These all are the micronutrients. And then what is the importance of micronutrients? Mainly micronutrients that helps in maintaining our body health. So the importance of micronutrients is to maintain our body health. Is it clear? And right now, what about macronutrients? And then what are macronutrients? Macro means huge amount or a large amount. And then some food components that we take in huge amounts. So based upon the quantity, we discuss the macronutrients are of three types. One is carbohydrates, and second one are proteins, and the third one are fats. So, what is the importance of carbohydrates and what they give us? Mainly, carbohydrate that gives us energy. So, carbohydrates provides energy. With the help of energy, we can do several activities in our daily life, as well as not only carbohydrates but also fats also gives us energy. So our conclusion is both carbohydrates and fats gives us energy. With the help of the carbohydrates and fats, we can do several activities such as walking, jumping, running, and our daily activities we can do with the help of carbohydrates and fats. And what about proteins? So proteins that are considered into as body building materials. So proteins are body building materials. That means they help. That means the proteins that helps us body growth. Okay. So once I repeat, macronutrients are of mainly three types. One are carbohydrates, and the second one is proteins, and third one are fats. So both carbohydrates and fat that gives us energy. With the help of the carbohydrates and fats, we can do our daily activities. And what about proteins? These proteins that helps us to body building or they help in body growth. Is it clear, students? Right. And then let us we discuss about the brief about of carbohydrates. Okay. Okay, students. What are carbohydrates and what are the components are present in carbohydrates? Mainly carbohydrates. Carbohydrates. Carbohydrates mainly that consists of three elements. One is carbon, and second one is hydrogen, and third one is oxygen. Oxygen. That means a carbohydrate that includes C, H, and O. These three elements are present in carbohydrates. Is it clear? Okay. And what is the importance of carbohydrates? Note down. Carbohydrates that provides energy. Carbohydrates that provides energy. Okay. So basically components or composition of carbohydrates, we can define or we can divide the carbohydrates into two, so that based upon the composition, based upon composition based upon composition, the carbohydrates are divided into two. One is simple carbohydrates. Simple carbohydrates. And second one are complex carbohydrates. Complex carbohydrates. So what are simple carbohydrates? In both simple and complex carbohydrates, we find these three elements. Okay, but their arrangement in that food component so that we can define or deviate into as simple and complex carbohydrates. And then we discuss about simple carbohydrates. Generally, the examples, the simple composite carbohydrates, the examples are glucose. One is the glucose, and second one is sucrose, and the third one is fructose. These are the examples for simple carbohydrates. What are they? One is glucose, second one is sucrose, and third one is fructose. Clear? And what about complex carbohydrates? So complex carbohydrates are starch. Most of the green plant that prepares these carbohydrates in the form of starch. Okay, and second one is cellulose. Cellulose is the one of the an important, and it plays a vital role in formation of plant tissues. So that most of the plant tissues that belongs and that bears cellulose, a complex carbohydrate. Is it clear? So that these are the examples of simple and complex carbohydrates. So now let us discuss about simple carbohydrates. So what is the importance of simple carbohydrates? Generally, simple carbohydrates that gives energy rapidly. That gives energy rapidly. That means we can consume the simple carbohydrates and easily they digest and they directly give us energy. For example, whenever we go for a vigorous exercise, or you just make a busy work, and then you immediately you take glucose water. That means glucose water is nothing but it is simply digested in our digestive system and simply absorbed into blood. So that these simple carbohydrates that easily gives the energy rapid to our body. Okay, and then they are also, these simple carbohydrates are also called as sugars. Sugars. The simple carbohydrates are also called as sugars. Is it clear? Right. And then what about complex carbohydrates? These complex carbohydrates may not digest easily. Okay, may not digest easily and may not dissolve easily into blood. So that they may first simplify into simple carbohydrates. So that's why in some materials, in some food materials, which are derived from plant extracts, we cannot digest easily. So this is the reason that complex carbohydrates may not digest easily. So this is the important point. The complex carbohydrates may not digest easily in our digestive system. And then some animals digest the complex carbohydrates because of some bacteria. Some bacteria are involved in digestion. So that most of the grazing animals that receives the complex carbohydrates and they easily digest. So most probably the complex carbohydrates may digest by the help of microorganisms such as bacteria. So, so this is the information about complex carbohydrates, right? So we have to easily draw the flow chart. So what is that? Carbohydrates. Carbohydrates are of two types. Carbohydrates. One is simple carbohydrates. Second one is complex carbohydrates. Simple carbohydrates digests easily, and complex carbohydrates not to digest easily. So the examples for simple carbohydrates are glucose, fructose, and sucrose. Okay, and here are the examples for starch and cellulose. So this is information about carbohydrates. And right now we discuss about another food component is proteins. So what are proteins and what are the elements are present in proteins? Clear. So proteins. You know what is proteins? What is the importance of proteins? Proteins that helps in body growth. Protein that helps in body growth. Hence, these proteins are called as building blocks. Building block of an organism. Building block of an organisms. And then what are the elements are present in proteins? Mainly the elements such as carbon, and the second one is hydrogen, and the third one is nitrogen, oxygen. Along with these all three present in carbohydrates. So along with the carbon, hydrogen and oxygen, nitrogen is additionally seen in proteins. So the main elements is seen in proteins are CHO. These are the main elements in proteins. Okay. So importance of these are required for body growth, and these are also called as building blocks of the body. Okay, so proteins are most abundant. No doubt, proteins are the most abundant sources or substances to our body. And what are the sources? Where do we find the proteins? Generally, in milk. In milk, we find proteins and eggs, meat, that means flesh, meat, and dal family, dal. And taking up dal, we get proteins. Okay, so proteins are available in milk, eggs, meat, and dal. So these are the sources of proteins. Is it clear, students? Right. Now let us and discuss about fats. What are fats? Commonly, these fats are, we call them into as oils. So what is the importance of fats? Fats that gives us energy. Fats that gives us energy. Fats that gives us energy. Okay. So these are required to our body in a moderate quantities. We may not take it into huge amount. A moderate quantity we have to take these fats. So fats that we receive in moderate quantities. Okay. So what are the sources of fats? So plants and animals. Plants and animals are the sources. Plants and animals are the sources for fats. For example, plant sources. Plant sources. What are the plant sources? Most of these that gives oils. For example, groundnut. Groundnut. This is groundnut oil. And sunflower. Sunflower. And the third one is gingerly. So many of the oils were extracted from plant sources. These all are the plant sources. These all are the fats are plant sources. And what about the animal sources? Animal sources. One is milk. We find a moderate quantities fats are present in milk and ghee and cheese. In the form of cheese we consume these fats. Okay students, is it clear? Okay, right. So mainly animal fats. So this is the information about three main components in our food. The main three components in our food are, one is carbohydrates, and second one are proteins, and third one is fats. Carbohydrates and fats that gives us energy, and proteins that gives us, that helps in body growth. So these are the macronutrients that our body requires. And what about micronutrients? Micronutrients. Micronutrients. Then how do micronutrients are useful to our body? Mainly vitamins. Vitamins and minerals. Minerals are used to our body healthiness. That means they provide health. Okay? So this is the topic. In the next topic we discuss about vitamins. Right? Thank you.